All right, everyone. This is a special edition here of Murph hanging out here. We're going to call it Shooting the Breeze. I put a link out before. I'm telling everybody this is not going to be your average sports show. We're not going to be talking sports tonight. It's one of these things where, we're going to go, we're going to break character tonight. It's me and my boy Josh just talking, and we're calling it Shooting the Breeze, guys. And I came up with that name about a half hour ago, and basically Shooting the Breeze. I think it's a great name because it's just two guys hanging out talking. We got a lot of stuff to discuss, and he's definitely he's definitely a character on our show, and he likes to chime in and talk about the sports. But there's also a different side of the Amish outlaw, my buddy Josh here, that we have some good conversation. We talk about life, and we have a lot of the same. Some outlooks and stuff, So here he is. Hey, Josh, you out there, bud?
Hey, Rich, what's going on?
You out there, dude?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I tried to turn my volume up. What's up, man?
How you been?
I've been pretty good. I've been pretty good. Me and you have been talking about getting this together. Me and you like to talk. We get into some in-depth conversations about life and stuff like that. And you're one of the very few people that I really enjoy holding a conversation about. Not that we always agree on everything. We have some disagreements, but we've been good friends for a long time, Josh. And I really like the conversations that we have. And I figured we'd bring it to a little podcast, right?
Yeah, we've been talking a bit about it, but as you know, life happens and things get in the way sometimes. In the past couple of weeks, it's nice.
Hey, Josh, I think you're coming in and out. Your Wi-Fi might be something might be wrong with your Wi-Fi.
How about now?
You sound better now. Hear that?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you much better now. All right, yeah, man, it sounded like your Wi-Fi went out.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, go ahead. All right, go ahead. You were saying?
No, I was just saying. I said we've been talking about doing this for a little bit now, but life just seems to happen, and things started to go on in both of our lives, and we just couldn't connect. So it's nice to finally be able to sit down and actually talk.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a perfect night. Listen, I'm a little disappointed about the winter here. To talk about this winter storm that's going to come. We got no snow. Listen, it's winter in the Northeast. You at least want to get a little bit of snow. You woke up this morning, there was a little bit on the ground, but nothing to. It was beautiful for about 20 minutes. Then I shoveled it, and we're getting that one big snowstorm for the year. I mean, are you a big snow guy? I mean, you being from where you're from, Pennsylvania, you used to get a lot of it. I mean, are you a big snow guy, or you want to go right to summer?
Dude, I was gonna just say this is where we disagree. I could go a whole winter without snow. Like
Okay.
I get no enjoyment out of it. I don't like the cold. I don't like the snow. I don't ski. I don't do anything to like get out. Maybe if I did that, I'd enjoy it more. But to me, it's
Yeah.
just when it snows, it means I got to shovel.
Yeah, even listen, even you grew up obviously in the ass end of Pennsylvania out there. When I say the ass end, I mean really far away. It's not like you live in Philly. You grew up right around Pittsburgh, and I'm assuming that the winters growing up there. I mean, that'd be brutal over there for you, right?
It's it was more similar to right here because I'm really just directly almost west. I'm right off of 80, so I'm a little bit south. But if it's 3 hours, 3.5 hours from here, but it's I always say I'm going up to Lock Haven, but it's really I'm just going over to Lock Haven. It's just a little bit south of where we are, but the weather is very similar to what we have here. We would get like the one time we had here, what we got in October, a lot of snow. Every now and then we would get a lot of snow, but it wasn't like just snow from December to March.
Yeah, and I almost think like what's going on. I was joking around with somebody today. It's like I'm scared that it's going to be 35 degrees in July. I'm afraid the summer's going to get affected. I mean, the way this winter's been, you're going to have we're going to have our snow boots on in the middle of July going skiing. I mean, I'm afraid that shit's going to happen.
And that's what I'm afraid of because we like to go camping. We got a camper now, but it opens up May, but that's only weather permitting. So now we're like, we might be stuck now not being able to go because of snow. But the
I
only good
know.
thing about this is this snow. I don't mind this snow in the end of February because I know in another month it's gone. When it snows like this in November, December, it's like, good God, we have another 3 or 4 months of this. And that's when I'm just like, nope.
I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I love the beach because I am hightailing it out of here as quick as I can when I retire. I love the beach. I mean, listen, but I do like maybe, listen, if we're going to be in the Northeast, I do like a little bit of snow. And, this morning was nice, but, hopefully it's gone because, listen, I'm hightailing out here, like I said, to the beach. I can't wait to retire and, never see snow again. And if I want to come see it, I'll just come north, but I'm going as far away from snow as possible. My old bones can't handle that shit anymore.
No, that's what I'm saying. And the other thing is I hate being stuck inside. I like going outside. I like being out, and but when it's cold, you're bundled up and you're just cold. When I'm
Yeah.
hot and the other people are on the other side, like, I don't like going to the beach, it's too hot. I can cool off when I'm outside, but I can't warm up when I'm outside. The only way to warm up is to go back inside.
And that's the thing. Like, I mean, this is, I mean, I haven't been working for, a couple, a little while. So I had to, take care of some stuff. But listen, I've spent 23 of the coldest winters I could ever imagine on tops of buildings, on scaffolds, like in open floors, like, 50, 60, 80 stories up in like the dead of winter, dude. And listen, I love my job. Don't get me wrong, but I got to tell you, man, taking a breath and being able to breathe in this really, really cold weather, it gets really cold out there, man. And that is one thing, I'm going back in a couple of weeks and the weather's going to be a little more, little better more conducive for working. But I don't miss the cold winters, man, when I'm working, dude. I really don't.
No, and it's always colder in the city. Anytime I had people come visit and wanna go down to the city in the winter, I'd be like, "You gotta dress," because the wind whips through those buildings like there's no tomorrow, and it's just like you said, it takes the breath away from you. When you're down there in the winter and it's a cold day, it's even colder down in the city than it is up here.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I could remember. I mean, listen, I could probably name numerous winters. I mean, it does get really cold for us out there. But I can remember working down. I was working down at Battery Park City, all the way downtown Manhattan. I'm sure you know where that is. It's really on down on the tip. And I
Yep.
have to say, maybe it was about 2004, maybe something. And there was all those buildings being built over there. Battery Park City was being built. It was about to become right across the street from Stuyvesant High School. Now, we were the one of the only buildings being built there. It's right on the river, and there were days, man, when the wind there was no windows, no brick up. It was just an open floor, and the wind would just whip through that. And I can remember literally, I can remember there were days that we weren't able to work because the machines, like the lifts and stuff we were using, they just literally wouldn't start. And just like your hands, and it's like that guys that that spend so many winters out there, it's like they know what I'm talking about. It's like that hurting cold, like it gets to a
Yep.
point where you suck it up and you look at the work, but it's some days it's a mind over matter thing. And we have to get up for our families, which is a lot of stuff we're going to want to talk tonight. Like, we
Right.
look at that cold weather, we look at that shit, that adversity that we have to get up for. It's like we just strap our boots on or whatever, our uniform or whatever it may be, we just get our asses to work, and we don't even think about that, man, until we have a time to actually sit down and think about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I you don't realize it until you become a parent, but the things you do because you're a parent, you don't
Yes.
that's when you appreciate really what your parents well, I can't say everyone, but I appreciate what my parents did for me just the day in and day out. You know what I'm saying? And and like you said, you going down there, I don't even know how you did it because it has to drain you being that cold all day long because your body's trying to warm up. You had to have been dead when you got home.
Yeah. I mean, you're out there all day, and sometimes it's even crazy. Like, you think about taking a lunch break or you think about taking a coffee break. Now, the coffee break is absolutely mandatory. You need that coffee break. But there are times, man, where it's so cold and even that hot for that matter on the other extreme end where you look at yourself and you're like, listen, man, if I get out of another hour, I don't even want to take lunch. I can't, I'm so cold, too cold to eat, and it's too cold or too hot to eat. I just want to work through it. Just like, there are days where taking a lunch break is actually detrimental for the rest of your day. I mean, you
Right.
eventually got to take a break if you're working overtime. But the thing is, if you're working a normal day and you're out of there at 2:15 without taking a lunch, I mean, sign me up for that, especially in those extreme conditions. I mean, I understand maybe people want to duck in for a little while, but I just think if you duck in and stop moving when you're in that atmosphere of go, 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 and your body just kind of shuts down for more than like 15 to 20 minutes, it's really, really, really hard to get that motor going again.
Yep. Yep. I know exactly what you're saying. Now, how many times did you have those days and came home on the train and had to go right to a baseball game or a basketball game or practice or something?
Oh my God! I mean, listen, Josh, like because we spent a lot of time talking about this about the coaching. I mean, there are times, yeah, I would go right from the train, or I'd go right, and go right to the baseball field, or right to the field, and be there for our kids, coaching them. It's like what, Josh, and like we say it all the time. It's like as parents, as dads, like we could speak obviously from a dad perspective. It's like that's what we do for our kids, man. And it's like
Yeah,
and sometimes when you think about it, man, it's like because I have been thinking about a lot of this stuff recently about just like what you saw, growing up, and your parents, and your great grandparents. But it's like it's easy. I mean, when I say easy, I don't mean easy in the sense of, God, it's easy, anybody could do it. But it's the little things that matter when I say easy. I mean, it's like the being there for the kid, being there for your son when he's upset, or if he wants to tear up, or being there for your son when he gets in trouble in school, or being there for your son when he's, listen, some people say like he's from his moving up ceremony to his to kindergarten, like those little things that we do, and even just getting up for work every day could be thrown into that category. That things that just people are supposed to do, those things become easy because it's the greatest feeling in the world when your kids turn around to you and just say, Dad, I love you. And that to me is just the greatest thing ever, dude.
yeah, yeah. But again, I think that not everyone has that mentality, Rich. That's It's like that whole nurture versus nature. I think
Yeah.
I have it because I saw my dad do it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't go into the mindset where I have to do this. I want to do this. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I want to go to the baseball practice. I want to go to the game, sit out in right field. I like the games better when I wasn't coaching just to go out and watch. You know what I'm saying? But there was
Yeah.
never a day where I got home from work and I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to go to that baseball game. I got home
Yeah.
from work to go to that baseball game because it put me in a better mood. But again, I think that's more because of I saw what my dad did working 2, 3 jobs, but he never missed a wrestling match, never missed a baseball game, never missed a football game. You know what I'm saying? He did what he had to do to give me my life, but he also got joy out of watching me succeed. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I get out of my kids, and not just in sports, but just in life. Teach them the right way and their manners and everything. And that's I don't know. I just went off on a tangent there, but it's
No,
just
no, no.
I
Keep
think
going,
it's
Josh. No,
more
no.
like we're saying this like everyone does it, but everyone doesn't do it. And not all kids get to see that aspect of a father or a mother or a family unit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
Yeah.
I couldn't comprehend like when I was coaching wrestling and parents didn't come to a wrestling match. Though you could see the difference in a kid when the parent was there and then when the parent wasn't there.
Yeah. And it's almost like it's almost as coaches, and even as other parents, like you could even tell, like when the parents are there, like and they're very distracted, like there's not a time, listen, there's not a time, like even when we were spectators, you know what I mean. It's like when we were all together laughing and yucking it up, we were at the field paying attention, watching our kids play, maybe sometimes yelling at them, maybe sometimes not yelling at them, maybe
Yeah.
sometimes giving them tough love. Sometimes maybe when that love got a little too tough, and like, the four of us, when we used to coach, it's, we got to a point where it's like, listen, it's like, you take your kid, we never, like, if we had an issue with our own child, it's like one of the other coaches would swoop in and say, all right, Aiden, come over here. Your dad's a little too upset right now to talk to
Yeah.
you. So let's handle this.
Yeah, but you're always tougher on your own kid, and
Of
especially
course.
when you are the coach, because other kids will look at him or her and see, well, if they're messing around and their dad's the coach, I can mess around. So it's almost like you want to, and in a way, it kind of I don't want to say ruins it, makes it harder for them, but I think well, I can say right now, it made my son a better person because he's away at college, succeed, and all, you know what I'm saying, doing stuff. But at that time, I don't think he looked at it that way. Kind of like we're looking back now. He will eventually, and he has because he sent me some TikToks of that exact thing what you were just saying. A dad talking about uh, a son actually said sent his dad a letter thanking him for all the hard times he put him through coaching because it made him who he is now. And when he sent me that, I was like, you know what, dude, I I, I did the right thing.
Hmm. And and I'll tell you, it's the one thing that I can never, you could just from afar, like look at how kids and how they interact with, like, with their parents, and No, but you just never kind of like that guy's gonna say, "Well, that guy does a bad job being a parent," or no one ever knows like what's going on. So I can only know from like my perspective. Now, I say this, with with full on like this being a dad for me is I'm really good at it, man. And I'm not very confident about I'm confident about a lot of stuff. You know me. I'm a confident guy, but
Right.
I'll never ever say to you that I'm the best at something or I'm great at something or I'm great at this. Listen, my job, I love my job. I'm really good at it. Am I the best? No, you always have room to learn. But when it comes to raising my two sons and I look at them and they look at me and the relationship I have with them because of all those years that we put in of stuff we wanted to do, it's like, well, you know what? I'm really good at this, man. And that's a product of being really good at something and just being there for them and just being that shoulder to cry on or being that cheer or the clap and the yell. And it's like, just that guy. It's like, and Josh, you know how it feels. Isn't it amazing? Like there could be 100 people, watching something, or no matter what the kid's doing. But 9 times out of 10, our boys and all of our friend group, you'll see them turn when they do something good and they'll always be looking for us.
Right. You're
Even
100%
at
correct.
18, even at 18, Aiden still does it, man. And it's like maybe it's a subconscious thing, but I see it and I'm like, damn, he still does it.
He does it, but it's also because they still want to, I don't want to say impress us,
No?
but to get our approval. Even though it's like not they haven't ever had it, but they still like that approval. You know what I'm saying?
See, I don't
And
even think it's to a point where it's like approval. I kind of think sometimes when I look at my sons, like, and Josh, you're one older, but our two boys are the same age. It's like, I almost think it's to a point where I look at Aiden and Jack's starting to look at me like this too. Like, thanks, Dad. Look what you did. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. They want you to enjoy in their success because of what you did to get them to that success.
Yes. That's how I feel. That's my perspective. You know what I mean? That's kind of like what I read off sometimes on my kids.
But the other thing I think is you're the same way I am, and it's not only you were just talking about all their successes and doing this and doing that and how proud you are, but they're also the way they are because you also gave them limitations and you corrected them. We weren't okay. Yeah, no, that's okay. Just keep doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're a great father, not just because you're one hell of a rah guy. I'm gonna tell you that right now. You were the coach that was always positive, except to your own kid. No, but always positive. But you were also the one that would put his foot down when he had to. You know what I'm saying? You weren't the one that was just always just you're doing horrible. But when it came time to do a correction, you put your foot down. And that's the other thing why your kids look at you and respect you. And it's also because your wife. It takes two in a relationship to raise two, especially two boys. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah, man. I mean, we can't speak on raising girls because we have boys, and you're right. It's like somebody said something to me one time, or gave me a shirt or something. It's like fatherhood is the toughest job you're ever going to love. It's hard, it's because you got to make sure because the two young men that live in my house right now I directly affect how they're going to perceive stuff. Meaning, as kids and as they're really young, we try to give them the right tools and we try to, to tell them, you should, maybe make your own decisions, but we give them the right tools to make their own decisions. But when they get to a certain point, it's like, then you start watching them make their own decisions. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like, and you let Aiden just, well, Josh, he's probably going to be going to Cortland, Aiden. And as a matter of fact, we're going up this weekend for a tour. Now, he's going to probably he'll be joining Maddie, I'm hoping, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
now he had to write a college essay. Now his college essay was why he feels that early failure set him up to be, set him up for good things to come. I mean, I forgot what the title was, but the premise of it, I'm paraphrasing, is he endured some failure early on in his life and realized what it's like, to say take that failure and turn it into positivity and then just go kick ass. You know his whole story with the he'll
Yeah.
get cut from the team in seventh, and he wrote this really, really great thing on his essay. And what he pulled out of that, Josh, is something that, and at eighth grade, when I saw those tears, he could have said, "Dad, it's just not for me," or whatever he could have said. But he
Right.
turned around and said, "I'm going to come back next year and make the team." And right now he's writing that college essay to go to a college, saying that because I failed, I'm become the person who I am. So, and I overcame it instead of, putting my head in between, tail between my legs and running away. I overcame it. And he says, Dad, that didn't just set me up just to play baseball. Like, I know at that moment that set me up for life. And for an 18-year-old kid to perceive it that way, I'm like, it's pretty good.
Right, because a lot of times they just take their winning as what they want to talk about. But I always told my wrestlers, you learn more out of, I never said losing, but out of not winning than you do winning. I said the only time you really lose at something is when you don't learn from not winning. And I stress that to my boys, I stress that to my wrestlers. Champions lose. Champions are the ones that overcome their failures in order to succeed.
Yeah, that's very well put. I like it. Yeah, of course. And it becomes, it becomes mind over matter at that point. It's like, how mentally strong are you to keep going?
Yeah. And to persevere. Perseverance is huge in life, not just sports in life. But you said something earlier about you don't say you're good at something. Most people that are good at something don't say they're good at something. Look at LeBron and Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
Michael Jordan never said he was the greatest. Who says he's the greatest? Because he wants people to believe he's the greatest.
right. Right. Yeah, listen, we know that's we saved that for our sports show with the other. We go more depth into it, but I saw a pretty funny video the other day. With the whole LeBron Michael Jordan controversy, and I know the point where you're going is LeBron James literally thinks he's the greatest player of all time, but Michael Jordan put out a quick little video the other day, just talking about the whole controversy online. But he's just literally just sitting there, really not saying anything that has to do with the controversy. Just kind of like has his 6 rings on his hands, and he's kind of just like tapping his face like in deep thought. But it says like the LeBron Michael controversy is something in the back, but it's just kind of him like kind of in deep thought with all his rings on his hands. It's pretty
Yep,
funny.
that's all you need. So when did Aiden decide to go up to Cortland? Because I know I spoke with him at the bowling thing, and he was thinking about Manhattan, but then him and I were talking about the whole thing about degrees, and unless you're in the top 3 Ivy League schools, doesn't matter where you get your degree. But what does matter is when you're done with your degree and you're not in those top 3, how much you got to pay for that degree.
Mhm.
And
Well,
he
then
was
I
he was
guess go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I guess from obviously like from you said something to him, a couple he said something to him. He's like, yeah, I guess he kindly came to the realization, listen, I'm not going to be an engineer. Like he just listened to all the talk, and the other day he's like, you know what, Dad, he's going to put his the application's in. He's writing his essays. It's all it's all the ball's rolling. It's actually, Josh, to be honest with you, from what we're looking at, it's easier for a transfer student right now to get into for an actual freshman. They're actually taking transfer students more than actual freshmen. It's pretty weird.
Yeah, that's a lot of colleges. You're better off uh, trying to transfer to a school than you are to get into a school.
Yeah, and that's what he's doing now. Like he's getting he's got his stuff together. He's got his grades. He's gonna, they got they're getting his transcripts. And yeah, listen, he knows a lot of people up there. He knows Maddie. He knows, Michael Mason. He knows he's got a ton of people he knows up there. You know, um, Listen, you even seen Eden recently, and you're like, wow, you changed. I mean, he's a completely different kid. He's like a young man now. So
Yeah,
and I'm so the both of the two young men that these both of my boys have become. It's like now Aiden's going to be off to college, and I'm like, holy shit, what the hell am I going to do? I'm like, he's not going to be in the other room, when I want to go watch the Met game with him or something, But
right.
listen, he's preparing himself, man. And I think he's going to be fine, man. Like I even looking at him, like I don't even. He'll tell me like he's putting a backpack on and going into the city, and listen, I can only equip them with as much, common sense and street smarts that I could give my kids, and they just, I just know that they're not going to let anybody take advantage of them, and shit happens in life. And, listen, they're going to handle their, issues the way they handle them, but you just got to
Yeah,
equip them with certain things to get through life.
yeah. Like I always tell Maddie and Jack when they're out up at college, I'm like, just know your surroundings. Just don't be oblivious to what's going on around you. I said, you have a good time, go out, do what you have to do, but don't get to a point where you're not aware of what's going on. And that's a big. That's wherever you go. Like even in the city, they went down to the city a couple times, and I said the same thing. I said, don't just be walking with your phone out, head down, walking around. Pay attention to what's going on. I don't want to be all gloom and doom and be like, look, there's bad people out there. You're not going to have a good time, but just have a good time, but just be cognizant of what's going on around you. And
Yeah, because listen, you know as well as I do, like, a kid could get jumped or beat up, walking down the street in, Ohio somewhere, just as well as walking down the street in Brooklyn. It's just, it's a matter of,
yeah,
wrong place, wrong time, but like you said, just equip your kids with enough, sense, like, to be aware of your surroundings, that's all. That's all you can do.
and I'm telling you right now, you still have Jack, but you're going to see a big difference in your life and Shannon's life when Aiden goes away. It's like you grow up, you get engaged, you get married, your life changes. You have kids for the first time, your life really changes. And then it's your entire life is nothing about the kids, nothing but the kids, I should say. But then they go away. We're empty nesters. And I wasn't prepared for the house to be empty again. You know what I'm saying? Because a home is your family. So right now, Shannon's my family. I love my wife and everything, but it doesn't feel as much as a home when the boys aren't here.
It's funny you say that, 'cause somebody said something to me one time, or somebody said something is like, we were at somebody's house and he had a big, beautiful house. And, guy said, I think he was divorced, something, whatever. He was living there by himself, and he said, "It's like, oh, you have a beautiful." It's like, "Oh, your home is beautiful." And like the guy looked at us and goes, "Listen," he's like, "This is a house." He's like, "You guys have a home. It doesn't matter the size of the house." He's like, "You guys have a
Right.
home. This is a house. I live here." It's like, me and my wife got divorced or whatever the situation was, but yeah, it's a big house, but you guys look like nice family. You guys have a home, and I think that makes a lot of sense, man, when you think about it.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And what's funny is not to, but I was just talking to my neighbor yesterday. He has a daughter who's in eighth grade, and he was talking about my boys, how they turned out to be great boys and all this. And he said, I just hope that my daughter will do as well as they're doing in school. And then we started to talk about school and all that. And we got to the point where I said, you know what? She doesn't have to go to college. She doesn't have to be like go to Yale or anything because he was talking about how she's an AP and all that. And I said, and a successful life to me is being having a job that you don't hate. You don't have to love your job, but just a job you don't mind going to, but you can still come home and support your family and and have a roof over your head and provide for your kids. To me, that is a successful person, someone that has a job that can come home and have a home. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, no, you're right. I said, too many people put success on like six digits or seven digits. I don't. I put success in, I like going to work. I come home. I love being home. I'd rather be at home than work. I know people that just work overtime and overtime just to try to get money. To me, money's not worth it. I gave up overtime to go watch the boys. You know what I'm saying? To stay at home, to babysit. I shouldn't say babysit because they're my own kids. You don't babysit your own kids, but just to be
Yeah,
with the boys. And I think
yeah.
that's why it hit me so hard because once they left, it was like, oh my God, what do we do now? How do you cook for two people?
Yeah, it's almost like, and me and Shannon are gonna be going through this soon because Jack, like you said, Jack's here. Aiden's gonna be going to college, and that's a real serious conversation. Like you were saying, like you got to think about, because there literally are, when you go through a marriage, like you get the phase where you're going out, and you're having fun, and you start to know each other, and everything's new. Then you like decide like, oh, this is great. Let's get married. Then you get married. Then you have the kids. And as soon as the kids come, it's the happiest time of your life. But literally those first whatever years, whatever it stops, is the go, go, go craziest time of your life. Now, however long that go, go, go part of your life is with the kids, like running them here, running them to practice, being a good parent, that go, go, go part of your life is nuts. And then, like you said, Josh, all of a sudden it seems like it's just going to stop. Like, in other words, like all of a sudden, me and Shannon are going to look up and we're going to look at each other like, holy shit, what do we do now? Like there's nobody to take to school. There's nobody to take to practice. There's nobody to
Yeah,
help with homework. There's nobody to yell at to go walk the dog. There's nobody to come to the store with me. There's nobody to go, to talk to me if I want to just like BS about, the Mets. Like, it's like, what
right.
do we do? I mean,
Yep.
and I
It's
guess it's like, it's all, what it is too. And we, like I said, me and Shannon have been talking a lot. We've been together. Me and Shannon have been together 23 years, man. We're married 20 years, and you guys, and like we know a lot of people, like they've been together a long time, and I think that it's really, really important. And I'm not saying it for everybody, but me and my wife specifically is like when I met Shannon, is like it was the she was the best thing that ever happened to me. Like we had so much fun together, and it didn't mean just a matter of just like having fun, meaning on our trips to like wherever we went, we traveled a lot. But I'm just talking about just like sitting down watching a silly movie with her, and like just like literally having fun. And I think sometimes you give and give and give so much to making sure the kids this, the kids that, you kind of lose that aspect and forgot how to have fun with each other.
Yeah, because you went from being married to being parents.
Yeah. And I think that if a lot of people like because when you get to a point other people's relationships like are different. They get to a point when it's like, but I think it's really important. The only reason why I'm saying that now is because that's kind of like what I'm thinking is like I'm looking at myself. I'm like, I've been with this woman for a really long time. I love her. She's the mother of my children, and we're going into a different part of our life now. And just I think we have to remember the amount of fun we had when it was just the two of us, to be able to not so much relive. Like, listen, me and Shannon aren't going out clubbing like we used to and coming home on Sunday afternoons after being out for 30 hours. You know what I mean? Listen,
Yeah.
we're not doing that. But you know what? Maybe we can go to a Jimmy Buffett concert for 3 hours and come right home. It's or and I'm also finding too, Josh, just from my perspective too, is like even like I haven't had a drink. I really haven't had a drink in probably 6 or 7 months. I haven't had a drink, and again, it's to no accord because I feel like I have a problem or anything. It's
Right,
just
right.
I was finding that I was listen. We had a ton of fun. We had so much fun. But then as it got on, like not with you guys, but then as it became just like, me and Shannon and the boys, needed a little more attention as they were older. It's like I wasn't hanging out. We weren't doing Rampage as much anymore. We weren't getting
Right.
together as many barbecues. And it became like, it's like, wow, it's like, this is really, you don't need that. You know what I mean?
No.
To any because I thought I had a problem. It's like to a point where I can hang out now. Listen, I like to smoke weed. So I'm not saying I have no
Yes.
vices. But the point is, I could go hang out with all you guys. You guys are all hanging out at a barbecue, drinking some beers and hanging out and laughing. And I'll take a couple of tokes off and I'll be fine. It's just you get to a point where, different things make you feel, different ways. And it's like, it's like, wow, these guys are my friends. Like, you really don't need you don't need any like, you need to get fucking hammered and falling down drunk anymore. It's like, we've been through the war. Like
Right.
we've had so much fun. We've kind of like, I wouldn't say mess, but kind of distracted ourselves, like, kind of like, and had talking to things except our kids, and like watching our kids play and had so much fun, Josh. Now it's kind of like, all right, we can chill and relax. Like, you could have a glass of bourbon, and I can sit down and smoke a joint. We can just chill out. You know what I mean?
Right. It's it almost sounds like we got sophisticated, but we didn't. It's just you got to the point in your life where I don't need to sit and have 12 beers to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? I can sit and talk to you without even drinking, or I could have, like you said, one glass of bourbon and just sit there and talk. I don't. And the other
Yeah.
thing is, I get hungover now worse than I ever did. It takes
You know what?
3 days.
That was the point that I was going to make. Go ahead.
It takes 3 days now to get over a bender than it. I used to be able to drink in college, wake up, drink until 4, wake up at 6, and go to work. You know what I'm saying? I worked at a bar, which was even worse because then you walk into a bar being hungover, smelling the stale beer. Oh God!
Yeah.
But now, dude, I could have 6 beers and wake up and just feel like hell for 3 days.
Yeah. And that's the point that, listen, I could give you that whole, like, nice thing, like, oh, I don't drink anymore because of this. But bottom line is, bro, I can't handle the hangovers anymore, dude. I get the worst and they last for days. It's not like you said, you don't get up the next day. It's like, all right, have a bacon, egg, and cheese and a Dr. Pepper and I'll be back at it. It takes days, man. And like I said, bottom line is, look, I'd love to tell you that, whatever. But the bottom line is, I can't hang the hangovers anymore. The hangovers are
No,
the worst, dude.
no. And Rich, it's now for me. They start happening at like 1 in the afternoon. Not even like as soon as I wake up going, yeah, I'm good. Then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, Father Time smacks me in the back of the head and said, no, no, you're not, buddy. You're going to be bad for the next 2 days.
Yeah, psych. Yeah,
Yeah.
psych. You felt real good, huh?
Yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah,
horrible. But the other thing
yeah,
is, I just don't like feeling like that. I don't want to wake up feeling groggy. I want to wake up and be able to enjoy the day. And that's the
yeah,
difference nowadays. Back then, it was like you just want to enjoy the night. No, I want to enjoy the next day.
Yeah, I'm a morning person, dude. Like I've always been. Like I literally tell everybody all the time. I literally think the best time of day is from 6:30 a.m. to probably 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe 6 to 8 o'clock in the morning. Because you got people, even if people are walking around, dude, it's like everybody's good morning. Nobody's day's been screwed up yet. The sun is shining most of the
Right.
time, and it's like just a time where it's like
Well,
you're
wait,
awake.
hold on.
Yep.
Maybe the ones that were drinking the night before, their day's already been, but majority of the people.
Yeah, and what's funny too is like now even going back to these days, like even go back in the days, and I used to party pretty hard, man, and and we'd come out, like we'd come out of the club on a Sunday morning, let's say 9 o'clock in the morning. And some people like that was like they'd be like, oh, they're running to their cars with their glasses, and they just feel terrible because people are walking around. And I just walk out of the club, and like me and my friends, we would go to the park or something. And who cares, man? People going about their day. That's what you happen to do in your day. It's like, it's just like even then, it's like, good morning, good morning. It's like, why feel bad? If you're going to feel bad about coming out of a club at 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, don't go. Just go home. I
I was
loved
just
that
gonna
about
say,
going to
why
a club.
go?
I love that about going to a club, man, where you could be somewhere at 9 a.m., Josh, and the music is pounding and there's people going nuts. Nobody's fighting, nothing. Everybody's just having a great time. And I'm
Right,
talking literally just 9 a.m., 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning, just an all out crazy party, bro. And you would just leave and it's like, it would just be a beautiful day and people going about their day. I never felt bad about that because the night before into the morning was probably some of the best times I've ever had in my life at that time.
right, right. But nowadays, I'd rather be in bed at 9 p.m. My birthday, we had a great dinner, had a couple glasses of wine. Shan and I were in bed at 9:30. And you know what? I was happy with that. Now you go back 20 years, I'd be like, "Are you kidding me? We're going to bed at 9?" I was happy going to bed at 9. It's like all the things that you were punished for when you were younger, naps, going to bed early, are now goals of mine.
Exactly. We look at each other sometimes. Like me and Shannon would be sitting on the couch on a Friday night at like 9 o'clock, and we look at each other and we're in our pajamas. She's like, "Oh, should we be doing something?" I'm like, "No, absolutely not. We're doing it. We did.
I was
We
gonna
did
say,
it, and now
you
we're
are
doing
doing
it."
something. Yes. Like, but
And
there'll
she's
be
on the
times
same page.
we'll be sitting on the couch watching TV. I'm like, "We could do this in bed, you know that?"
Exactly. Sometimes we stay up because we don't want to say that we were in bed at 9 o'clock just to watch TV. Sometimes we kind of like stay up to at least 10 o'clock to say we went in to watch TV at 10 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock. But the thing is, too, that she's on the same page as me. Like we all, we work hard. We all work hard,
Right.
man. Both, and this day and age, it's not just the dad, and the mom staying home.
No.
It's like moms and dads, husbands and wives. We work hard, man. And, on a Friday night, if we don't want to go hang out with our single friends for happy hour or something. It's like, you guys suck. No, we're tired, dude.
Right. We just wanna be home. Yeah. But the thing is, like you
Exactly.
said, when you're saying about the boys, when they go away, you guys gotta figure something out. What Shan and I started to do, which we stopped, and now we hate that we stopped doing it, we used to get up, like you just said, at, like, 6 in the morning and go to the rail trail for a walk, or go to one of the thousands of trails in the Hudson Valley and hike the trail for an hour or 2 and come home. But actually,
That's
during the week no, it actually yeah, we would go for about an hour, hour and a half. She would come home, go to work, I would do my stuff, but then we'd be in bed at 9, tired, Rich, not just going to bed because we want to, but we'd be bushed, sleep the entire night through, wake up at 6 in the morning again, but we felt like we got something accomplished. We felt so much better
yeah.
throughout the
No,
day because we got up early, got in bed early. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
I mean, even me, like even me, when I'm on vacation, I'm early. I'm an early vacation guy too, man. If I don't care where I am, I could be at a Caribbean island, I could be in Miami. I don't care where I am. I'm at the beach all day. Like you get. I don't care like if I'm in bed by say 10 o'clock when I'm on vacation because I'm up. I
Yep.
love you're on a beach vacation. To me, there's nothing more exhilarating when you're on a beach vacation is to get up at the crack ass of dawn and being in the ocean, being the only one there. No matter if it's Long Beach Island, New Jersey, whether it's Cancun, Mexico, DR, wherever you may be, just getting up at that, watching that sun come up and being the first person in the ocean, just swimming around. Listen, I know I'm taking a risk of getting eaten by a shark, but there is nothing more exhilarating just like floating around and being the only person in there like watching the sun come up. I'm big on that. I always do that on vacation too, dude. I'm always up at the sun, and I'm always first one in the ocean.
But I do have to say, I'm up early, but I'm not up at the sun. I'm up at like 7:30. But you,
Yeah,
with your job, have always been an early riser. So I think your internal clock, you're
yeah.
waking up at a normal time is way too early for me. You know what I'm saying? But you're used to that. What time did you get up to go to work? What time did you get up to catch that train? 4 o'clock,
I,
4:30?
I was getting up
You'd be
at
on the
three forty
train.
five. Yeah, I was getting up at 3:45, getting a 4:22 train. Sometimes I would be lucky because I'd be in Midtown, so I'd be able to take a 4:45 train. But for the most part, I'm up at three. You know what I mean? I'm up early, man. And it's
Yeah, dude,
like,
that's
you
not
know,
normal. That is
yeah,
not normal.
and and I'm talking again, and I'm talking to my wife the other day. And we're just talking about the whole retirement thing, and I mean, it's a lot of it is, and I've come to realize this now that a lot of it is the fact that you like I said before, you don't have the time to stop and say that you're tired because you're working all the hours. Like sometimes
Right,
sometimes I'd come home and I'd wake up the next day. I'd wake up on the train. I'm like, wait, where is it? Wasn't I just on the train coming home? And I'm on,
right.
and I woke was I home for 3 hours sleep? Sometimes, and you lose, and it makes you go crazy a little bit. And so when you have that time to sit down and be like, all right, I don't have to be on the train for 5 hours out of the day. So that's why, I do love my job. I could not have ever in my life picked a better career for myself. I mean, and I think I carved out a pretty good, career for myself. I love my job. But the commuting and the wear and tear on the body from that is I can walk away. Like, if I love a lot of people can't walk away from their job because they love their job. They love going there every day, which is, I love all the aspects of it. But the fact is the commute and the grind and being away from my family for all those hours, it just
Yeah,
did something to the point that I'm like, 2 more years and I'm done. 25 and I'm out.
right, right. Because you're no spring chicken. I'm not making fun of you, but that
Yeah.
that cold, that the work that you do and the hours you do it takes a toll on your body, dude. Body and
Yeah.
mind. And that's the thing. And that's when you gotta sit down. Like I know people that move up here and then drive down and they're in 2.5, 3 hours of traffic one way. I'm like, is it worth it to do that? Because that just messes with your mind when you're sitting in traffic. Like I've driven to work and I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna get mad if someone's going slow.
Right.
45 seconds into the drive and there's someone going slow in front of me, I'm screaming in my car. And then I'm gonna be like, you know what? Relax. That guy doesn't care that you're mad, but it ruins your whole day. And it's like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And the city is so congested now, man. But and of course, it's just a progression of like through the years. Like our parents would say the city sucks, and then their parents, and so on and so forth. But I just think now it's to a point where we just have one up on our parents by saying, yeah, the city's like it's terrible now. It's like crime is up, but it's also too damn crowded, man. Too damn crowded and too expensive. People come into
Yep.
this little slice of world that is literally, I mean, no matter how you want to look at it, dude, and where you're from in the world is Manhattan is the center of the world. I mean, you could ask anybody if they know where New York City is, they know where New York City is. I mean, that little sliver of land is like, it was sold for what, $24. And that's like the biggest real estate, investment ever. It's like, it's like worth
Yeah.
$1 trillion or something, a piece of property now. It's like everybody comes here for business. And it's like, I don't know, man, I want to get as far away from it as possible.
That's because we've been here. And just like
Yeah.
my wife's from Long Island, and when I first met her, we would go down and we lived what, 25 minutes from uh the beach. The only time we went to the beach was when other people came to visit us. We
Right.
lived 45 minutes on a train ride to the city. The only time we went into the city was when people came to visit us. And the same thing now. You know what I'm saying? We don't go into the city to go in because to me it's not worth it. It's expensive as hell. I've
Yeah.
seen everything in there. When we go into the city, my mom hates it because she likes to look around. She and I go, all right, before we go, where are we going? What do you want to see? We're heads down, we're walking. My mom's like, this isn't fun. I'm like, the city is not fun.
Exactly. And but you're right though. You know what it is? It's kind of like it's kind of this thing. Been there, done that. And it's amazing to me though that you turn on that NBC News show in the morning and you see all these people from all over the country so happy to be standing in front of that NBC studio at 5 o'clock in the morning, no matter what the weather is, to say happy birthday to their sister-in-law in Missouri. It's like,
Yep.
what are you doing?
Yep. I, I'd rather just FaceTime them now and do it. Hello, sister.
Yeah, exactly. Then they wouldn't be on NBC News. I
Exactly.
we've been talking about all this family and stuff, but I think I asked you a question the other day, and I was asking myself, and I don't know why I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Maybe because being that what I was saying to you before, we're at a point in our life where we do start thinking about this. But I was reading something the other day. It's like a word named legacy. You ever sit and think about what the word legacy means, Josh, or just like one of those words that is like, legacy. Legacy just means like, oh, some snotty kid has to get to Harvard because he got a family legacy. Like, did you ever think like what that word actually meant?
No, not really. You know what I'm saying? I No, because like you said, legacy is more. I don't know, for famous people or people of power. To me, a legacy. People like me don't have legacies.
But I see, but that's where like thinking more about it, like that's where I think like I think we do have a legacy, Josh. You know what I mean? Because look, there's a couple of different definitions of the word legacy. You know what I mean? Like, and I probably, I could probably rattle off, a whole bunch of like different other ones too. But now, look, the definition from the Merriam-Webster's dictionary is something transmitted or received by an ancestor or predecessor from the past. And the second is a candidate of membership given special status because of a family relationship. That's the second. That's a second definition of that. I think a legacy, like I've looked it up a little bit, and a lot of people, think along the same lines as me. It's like kind of how you interpret it. It's kind of a word that like you just said, like it's a word that you don't feel like you should say. Like I'm Josh Shoemaker. I don't have a legacy, but you know what,
Right.
Josh, you do have a legacy, and your legacy, I think, can be defined like however. Like I think for me, I put a lot of thought into this because legacies start somewhere and they finish somewhere, or it takes years and years for it to finish. Maybe it'll never finish, but a legacy definitely starts somewhere. My legacy right now is all the stuff that we talked about. Is I look at my kids one day, and before I die, whether it be on 90 or however old it is, I would think that the thing that I left behind is I left on this planet. My wife created those two boys, and I created two good young men, and whatever they chose to do, I'm not saying they had to be married with kids or whatever it is what they chose to do, they were good people and they always did the right thing in life. And I think it's again another thing that sounds so very simple about when people start looking at life, and it's like when I say that it's not that hard, it's like when you break it down to little small things like that. Like I think you're gonna live a good life if you just do the right thing in life, and whatever
Right.
that right thing may be. And I think if you do the right thing in your life, I think a legacy can be the children that you leave behind. Or it can be your legacy can be the fact that maybe you had no children, but maybe you were the CEO of a company that did really, really good things and you passed it on to maybe somebody else. You passed your legacy on. A legacy is something that's left behind that you're known for. So when I'm dead and gone someday, and some old iron worker runs into maybe like my grandson, I'm dead. It's like, oh, my grandfather used to be an iron worker. It's like, really? It's like, oh, I worked with, it's like, then that's legacy. That's keeping your name. That's keeping your name out there. And by having family and by spreading the word of doing positive stuff in your life and passing those positive things on so you can have your legacy. And maybe I am looking too much into that word, but I really think, like, 'cause I did see that, Josh, where legacy, like, I don't have a legacy. I'm Rich Murphy. But you know what? Rich people just don't have legacies. Everybody can
Right.
have a legacy. It's all how you interpret it. You interpret your legacy. When you're gone, the stamp you leave on society when you leave.
Right. And I think for me, that would be your legacy is what remains of you after the memory of you is gone. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So like your great great grandchild might not know you or might not know that you gave them the work ethic or this or that. To me, that's the legacy.
Mhm.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because, like, I know I was thinking because my grandfather passed away. It was actually my dad's stepfather, but
Okay.
the
And you
way
spoke
he
so very well. You spoke so very well of him too, Josh. That was, I mean, I feel like, stuff you said about you, like, I feel like I knew who he was.
yeah, he was a type like that's the only grandfather I knew from my dad's side. I knew his real dad, but he was never around. So this was my pap. This was my grandfather. This is the one who I was my dad's dad. You know what I'm saying? even though
Right.
he wasn't. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be blood to be family. It's the love that creates the family, and that is what my grandfather showed me and my sister, because he had, I think, 5 other children, and it was like 26 grandchildren, 42 great great grandchildren, and like 11 great 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 grandchildren. But he didn't treat us any differently than he did his real grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? There was never a time that I was with my cousin who was really his grandchild that
Right.
I felt like, oh, he's his grandchild. You know what I'm saying? So he
Yeah.
taught
Yeah.
me, and also my dad, like you said, when you said about saying I love you to your boys, I say that to my boys every night. You know what I'm saying? They say it back to me, even around their friends. They're not embarrassed to say that. You know what I'm
You know,
saying?
isn't that the best? Like you said, you see a bunch of kids hanging out, they're all boys hanging out. They all look like they're cool. One thinks they're cooler than the next. But then, our boys just come out of a pack of kids and they see us walking down. They just give us a hug and a kiss on the cheek. And he's like, hey,
Yeah,
what's up, dad? The other guys, look at him and be like, it's my dad, dude. It's like, yeah, of course, I'm his dad. It sucks that you can't do that to your dad, but that's what we do.
right. And I do that to my dad. They do that to me, and I guarantee you they'll do that to their children. Their children will do that to them, and that's passed on. And I think, like what you're saying, is that would be my legacy. Just show love. Don't be afraid to show love. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Mhm.
like they're never embarrassed, even when they're on the phone talking, and they're in college now, and there's kids around. I'll be like, all right, love you, bye. They're like, love you, bye.
Yeah.
There's never a bye.
Yeah. It's listen, to this day, even when the kids are out there having sleepovers when they're young, there's always been, good night, I love you text right before we go to sleep. So even like Aiden, there are nights maybe a couple of months ago or something where Aiden's at a bar in the city with his friends. 2 o'clock in the morning, I text him, I love you, good night. Literally, not even a half a second. He's in the middle of a bar, probably hanging out with all his friends. I get out. 10 seconds later, I get, I love you too, Dad. Good night. Within 10 seconds.
Right.
He's
Yep.
hanging out with his friends, like, he could easily just say, I'll text my dad later, but whatever he's doing, he just stop. And same thing. Jack does the same thing, man. Jack's the same way. It's just like they stop what they're doing and they just, I love you too. Good night. It's really a good thing. And I think there's a good point to be said about that. That is part of a legacy. You know what I mean? Just having that, showing the kids that they care, that we did a good job, Josh.
Right. But that but to me sometimes it makes me think of the ones that don't do it, because are they afraid to show the soft side? You know what I'm saying? Are they
Yeah.
afraid to show their friends, oh no, I love my dad? No, you're supposed to love your fucking, oh sorry, you're supposed to love your dad. You should not be
Exactly.
embarrassed to tell him that. And
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if that's the old generation, because of the men aren't supposed to be soft, they're not supposed to be sentimental, they're supposed to be the rock in the the family. They're supposed to be the disciplinarians, not the ones showing the soft side. I can be both, and the boys know
Yeah.
that. We can have fun, we
Yeah.
can laugh, we can joke around, but if you cross the line, you're, I'm not saying punishes is getting hit, but you're going to have repercussions for what you do, and I'm going to be the one, and so is Shannon going to be the one. It's not always the
Yeah.
moms that show the soft side and I love you and the kisses. The dads can do it too, and I don't know if that's starting to go by the wayside more, because now it's a whole have your own feelings. But I know back in
Oh,
the day, there were dads. I don't know if my mom's dad, who was a Navy guy, he was always nice to me, but I guess he was not as nice to his own son. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like he always gave
Well,
me a
yeah.
kiss because I was a grandson. Gave me a kiss goodbye. But my
Yeah.
mom was like, no, he was a military guy. He was a hard ass, a disciplinarian. I love my grandfather. You know what I'm saying? That's when I was talking to you about. I had to shave him when he was in the nursing home, and I still have that
Right.
razor. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think, I knew he was a hard, tough guy, but I also saw a soft side to him. My mom's like, I never saw that soft side. You did because you were the grandchild.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, I guess and then you're right, and that there is a generation of men that were like that, and there's men that they broke, I guess, kind of broke the mold. I guess you would say. I don't know if it's because you're right. There was like a prototypical man back in the day. That's like you said, it was this hard as nails guy. It was like just give me a bottle of whiskey and screw you. You know what I mean? But I guess maybe throughout the years. I mean, maybe some to a maybe some to a fault. Maybe some of these men get too soft with their kids. What
Yeah,
It also I also see sometimes too, Josh, and like I have somebody in mind specifically that I know, a friend from a long time ago, but was treated terribly by his dad, and couldn't stand his father, and has his own kids now, and literally the kids walk all over him. Because it's kind of like
he went the exact
he
opposite.
he could be that guy, I guess, because that's all he knew growing up. But when
Right.
it came down to his kids, like he went the exact opposite, and his kids literally walked all over him. And I'm like, that's got to be, it could go that way also.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, because at some point, like, if it is really bad, like, some people had it really bad growing up, and it gets to a point where, like, you never want your children to see a certain aspect, that you saw growing up. You kind of want to, not that you want to hide your kids from it, but you want them to know that maybe this was a bad way to grow up, or maybe this was a bad way to absorb information. But you know what though, we're gonna change it, man. And
Right.
you know what
But
I
like
mean?
you
Like,
said, some people go too far with trying to change it and not have a happy medium right there. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm,
if you did have an asshole dad or mom who was just abusive or an alcoholic or something,
mhm.
you lived a horrible life. You want to give your child the best life, so you go the exact opposite and give them everything. In a way, that's not teaching that kid anything either. They need to have, I think every child needs to have disciplinary and love. If you don't have the two of them, you're not going to be a well-rounded person.
Oh, no, no, absolutely. Yeah, of course. If you're shown too much love, you become a spoiled little brat, and if you're shown the opposite, then you just do whatever the hell you want. And like you said, it's the people that can juggle that in between stuff that. But there's also a point too, like where you observe, like your two parents too. Like my parents right now, they're 75 and 71, and they've been going through some stuff, as far as health issues, and we've been taking care of it as best we can, and but it's like we come to, like, I'm 50 right now, and I'm just literally starting to learn stuff about myself, like patterns that I've had through my life. People have told me to, like, people who have that love me have told me to, like, change certain things about myself. And my whole life I'd be like, I'm not changing nothing. Who am I
Right.
changing? No one's changing me. But I'm observing stuff now in my own life, like, throughout the last maybe couple of years. And, like, obviously it's like, because we're older now, we think more about this stuff. But I'm observing behaviors. People want behaviors to change, and people don't change the behaviors. Even when people that they love want them to change that behavior, it's still not enough. So I'm learning kind of like an opposite kind of thing, because someone's been telling me to change a behavior, a certain thing about myself, and I'm recognizing it, and I'm like, wow. It's like, sometimes it's maybe you just don't recognize when you have those things until somebody does say something to you. And maybe sometimes some people are so used to saying, like, not me, I don't have
Right.
a problem. Like, I'm not crazy, like but maybe we do need to stop and listen to the people that we love sometimes. Like, you know what? You were right. You were right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's the hardest thing to do. It's a lot of people can't take criticism or even being told that they're not doing something that's liked when you've been doing
Yeah.
it your entire life. You know what I'm saying? I was just going to say, like, I've been pointing out good things that I've gotten from my father, but I've also realized I have a very short temper. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And Shannon has told me. And at first it's like, ah, but then you start seeing it. If you think about it
Mhm.
and you think back on why they said it, when they said it, then you can start seeing, all right, maybe, yeah, maybe they are right.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're right. Because again, just from personal experience right now, observing something, and I'm like, wow. It's like, there's just like a complete disconnect sometimes, or if it's not a disconnect, or it's something, but like you really have to sit down. Like, holy shit, man! I don't know if it comes with age, Josh, or it comes with like experience, or it just comes with, I don't know what it is, but maybe the spark is like, later in life for different people, or early in life, but it's weird the way it just happened to me in the last couple of weeks. And and I've had such like a, I've had so much going on in my life, in the last like month, not to get into anything specifics, but a lot going on in my life right now. But I feel that a lot that's been going on in my life right now made me realize a lot of shit about myself, and positive stuff about myself. In other words, maybe they were negative, but I'm turning them into positives now because of
Right.
recognition.
Right. I was going to say maybe what's going on with you is making you stop and think about your own life.
Because in the fact that, like you said before, behaviors come from somewhere. Like
Right.
whether it's a learned behavior, or whether it's a habitual behavior, or whether it's an internal behavior. Like they're all behaviors come from somewhere. Like, whether you're born with a behavior, or whether habitual, meaning like you observe people doing something over and over and over and over and over again. It's like you just think that that's the right way to do it.
Right.
But the whole thing about of winning that game is, if you recognize the bad behavior, change it, or sculpt it into something that you're not going to change yourself 100%, but sculpt it into a way where it's recognizable, and being
Right.
like, you know what, maybe I can recognize when this is happening, or maybe turn it into a positive. You know what I mean?
The one thing is if you can realize when you do it, because you can't just change. I'm sorry, you're 50, I'm
Right.
47. We can't just change something that we've been doing over and over. But if you can actually recognize or realize, if even right after you did it, that you did it, that's a start. You know what I'm saying? It's hard because, like I said, I have a short temper. There's times where I gotta take a deep, like I'll feel it, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take a deep breath and
Right.
just try to, because it's so easy just to go like, there you go, like I said, driving down, all right, you know what, I'm not going to get mad today. And it's a small thing, you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying the thing you have that is like that, but just when when I'm driving and I'm like, all right, you know what, I'm not going to get mad today. And then I'll start be like, are you kidding? I'm like, all right, you know what, relax, there's no big deal.
But you know what though? But then you stop to think about how powerful that feeling is that you had. Your whole morning was wrapped up in, I'm gonna have a good day. I'm not gonna get mad today. And within a split second, that anger just took over your body.
Yep.
And like I said, like you, Josh, that's one of my things. Like, I do. Like you know, I I fly off the handle myself. I have a short temper. And I find myself having a short temper when, like, there's people around me, and I'm like, and there's just stuff going on. I'm like, why is this happening? Why is this person not like saying this? Or like, why, I can't believe this is happening, and then no one's saying anything. When it comes to, like, an intimate setting, like a family setting, and it's like, I can't believe what's going on right now. Then that's when I snap and I blow my fuse. And sometimes, like I said, I blow my fuse and I just go crazy, and I make it really bad,
Right.
and then I'll stop. Now I'm starting to think more about, all right, what if I get too crazy? Like, I don't want that to happen again. So there's a thought process there, but me too. Like, I don't know why I would get that angry, and it would just come like so fast, dude, so fast.
Right. And the anger does not equal what's happening, you know what I'm saying. It's
No.
like the way I just reacted, or the pent up rage I have inside of me, does not equal what's actually happening. I shouldn't say rage, but just that anxiety. Like even going to the grocery store, if someone's just stopped there in the middle of the aisle, not moving, I would get agitated. Now I'm just like, you know what? Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, sir. But before I'd be
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me? And say it out
Yeah.
loud. And why?
Yeah. Yeah. You're right, and I've come to do, actually, when I'm in that situation is, and actually Aiden noticed it today. We were coming out of the gas station, and this guy pissed me off. He bumped into me or whatever, and he's looked like he's having a rough day or something like that. I don't know, he looked like a disaster. I'm not whatever, but he bumped into me, and I turned around, I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And I turned around, I'm like, oh, what's up, buddy? He's like, what's the matter? You all right? And Ada was watching me, and like in my mind, I was like, I want to scream with this kid. But then, like, what I'm going to start doing now is I'm just going to start, it's like, what's up, man? Everything all right?
Now,
You good? Joking around about it. And Ada was
that's
Ada
funny you
was
said
watching
that,
us.
because it's funny you said that, because I thought that about that myself, about when I would get mad at someone, you have no idea what's going on in their life right now. Maybe they
Mm,
just got family member died, or a kid sick or something. You have no idea. But what you just said is, I can picture, because I've done what you did, but not nicely.
mm.
Instead of going, hey, asshole, hey, you good? In a smart ass type of way, which doesn't help the situation either. That's what I thought
No,
you did, because Aiden was with you. Hey, buddy, you good? Everything all right?
that's
You
it.
know what I'm
That's
saying?
usually the route I take. The sarcastic route is usually the route I like to take. like like real like pure sarcasm because that gets everybody every time. But I legitimately was like kind of like, oh, yo, you all right, dude? Kind of like so he recognized it, because I got mad and then got mad just as quickly as I got mad, it went away. So like, he's
Right.
like, that was good.
But what
He's like, good
what
job,
also happened is you, in a way, you got what you wanted. You made the guy realize what he did, but you did it in a
man.
way that didn't set him off either, which
Yeah,
could have made the situation worse.
yeah, yeah. Listen, like you just said, you're 47, I'm 50. Listen, if it came down to it, if someone attacked me, I'll swing, but I'm not looking to fight nobody right now,
Dude, if you think beer hurts you for 2, 3 days, imagine what a fight would do to you.
bro. I couldn't even imagine. Could you imagine if me and you went out when I got drunk and got into a fight? We'd be hungover and beat up.
No, ridiculous. I'd throw my back out, bending over to pick something up off the ground.
I know, right, dude? It's crazy. You go down and tie your shoes, and you wonder what you can do while you're still down there.
Yeah, that, and you have to make a noise or take a deep breath. Yep.
Yeah, but and it does. It really does though, Josh. Like talk about all this stuff. Like it takes a strong person to recognize certain things. Like it took me a really long time, but the people that recognize stuff like that early on, it's like it takes a strong person to realize like you've been doing something fucked up for a long time and wasn't noticing it. To
Right.
actually notice. Listen. It's a process. My process right now is just becoming. I'm just going to talk about everything. You know what I mean? I don't care. You know me, and as you. Like we're both. Well, I'm an open book, man. Like I don't
So am
care
I.
what people know about me. I'm an open book, man. And I live my life. I have a good family. Like I got good friends. There's no reason for me to hide anything from anybody.
Right. And that's the thing. We can do that. But I hate to say it, there's a lot of guys that don't feel like they can do that. They feel like they're soft. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like a lot of people don't. A lot of guys, and this is sad. I was watching TikTok the other day where this guy sends comedian in to like two people, but there's like 6 sets of two people to tell these very like offensive and just wrong jokes to see how they react. And the one
Right.
kind of didn't hit home, but it was sad. And the comedian goes, "How can you tell when a man's depressed?" And everyone pause. And she goes, "When you look at his corpse."
Okay. Where that? Wow, dude. Who said
You
that?
know, it was a comedian. A comedian said that because
Wow.
they were doing these like real bad jokes to see if anyone would laugh or how offended people would get by him. But in a
Right.
way, I didn't laugh because I was like, you know what? It's sadly true.
Wow.
Love you.
Holy shit! I just wrote that down. I never heard that before. Yeah, you know what? You're right because as we've been talking about this whole time, it's like it's like we're all right. Like I watched I don't know. That's like you. I scroll through these videos, like these TikTok videos and these Instagram videos, and there's this big tough dude standing there, and he says, he's like, next time you ask a man if he's fine, and he says he's fine, he goes, that man's not fine. He's like, that man, that. He rattles off this whole bunch of laundry list of stuff that's going on in this guy's mind. This guy, mind you, looks like a big tough dude, and he goes, just remember, everybody out there, is like, next time you see a big guy, or a big tough guy, or any man that says he's fine, he's not fine.
Yeah, yeah. Because like I said, back in the day, we were supposed to take on our family's problems. We weren't supposed to have problems.
Yeah.
And it's just sad. But I'm like I said, I wasn't raised that way. My boys aren't raised that way. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
How I sent you
Yeah.
a video the other day that said I told you, and now people are probably gonna make fun of me, that made me cry. I cry at movies. I cry at freaking
Who
songs.
cares? I do too.
One of the biggest thing, I'll fall down a rabbit hole on YouTube watching like American Idol or stuff like that and seeing people accomplish their dreams. Dude,
Yeah,
I'm not saying I cry, but I get that lump in my throat. You know what I'm saying?
I
It's
know, man.
and sometimes
Yo,
my wife will look at me. She's like, "Are you kidding me? You're crying at this?" Like she doesn't make fun of me for crying, but she's like, "It's a freaking American Idol thing."
my kids, and my wife, when they see something sad on TV, they know it's coming. Like I don't know what. Listen, I'm not a military guy, and maybe this is right why this gets me so hard, Josh. I cannot get through those videos of the fathers or the mothers when they come home to their
Oh my
kids
god.
and they don't know
Yep, you
they're
got
there.
me, dude.
And,
That's another one I
dude,
do.
because listen, maybe the fact that I know what it's like to be with my kids at all times, and these guys go
Yep.
away and come back. Is like maybe that's what those videos get me all the time, dude, all the time.
Hold on one sec, Rich. Yeah, babe.
Yeah,
All right. All right. Sorry about that.
that's right, dude. So, yeah, man,
But yeah,
it's
no,
like
they get me.
every time,
It's
man.
horrible. It's horrible. I now that to the point where I don't even watch them if I see it come on because I know it's like I don't need that right now.
Yeah, yeah. Like listen, like speaking about that, like you dropped a bomb on me the other night with that stupid song, that monster song that you sent me the other
Oh my
night. I'm
god,
calling it.
dude.
I'm calling it a stupid song because, dude, I was listening to it. I'm like, oh my god, this song. It's such a sad song, dude.
Dude, yeah, I never heard of it. I knew James Blunt from that one song he sang.
You're
Where he was,
beautiful.
yes, there you go. But I heard this song because it was again American Idol. A really big Hawaiian kid who was 18. His dad just passed away. He's trying out. He sings this song. I thought he was singing it for. He wrote it, singing it for his dad, and they're like, "No, that's a great James." So of course I Google it real quick. The song's sad, but if you watch the video with James Blunt with his dad beside him, it makes it even worse.
Yeah, yeah. It you know what though? It does. It does. And that song I guess could be interpreted into a lot of things. Like you think you listen the monsters could be anything. You know what I mean? Because like, you when you're a kid, the whole premise behind that song, man, is like when you're a kid, it's like when you're scared of something, like you're supposed to just scare the
Right.
monsters away. The monsters are the monsters when you're a kid. But when you get to a certain point in your life, when you're 75 years old, the monsters they're not real. They're not like scary like mummy monsters anymore. Those are real life fucking demon monsters that have been
Yep.
chasing you their whole life, and that shit's hard, man. To chase that away. And
Yeah.
sometimes, listen, sometimes also, and I've come to the point too. Like sometimes they don't want those monsters chased away, to be chased away, dude. And you just have
Yeah.
to realize that hey, they don't want it. So, but listening to that song, dude. It's like you can interpret that song in so many different ways. And he's right. It's like when you get to a certain point, it's our time to chase the monsters away, whatever it may be. But
Right. See, now I interpreted it as the monster was death for his father.
okay, all right. See
For him to.
now, I'm what do you call it? Full disclosure. I'm interpreting the monsters to be alcoholism. That's how I took it.
Oh yeah. See, I took it as to take your last breath. It's now my time that his father's afraid to die. That it's now
Yeah,
his time to chase the monsters away. He's there holding his arm. You know what I'm saying? He
yeah,
laid his clothes on the. It's funny. Again, all in how you view it. Like when we were talking with cousin Joe, and you're like, these songs describe me, and I'm like,
yeah.
if I hear the song, I might not think Rich.
Exactly. But that's a perfect example, man. Like you interpreted that song, and you sent it out. I listened to it, and I got stuff going on that end. So I'm like,
Right.
wow, it's like it's all due to interpretation. And then
Yeah.
sometimes you just throw up your hands and be like, you know what, I can't chase the monsters away. You know what I mean? So I still got to continue to keep my own monsters away. You know what I mean? That's how I
Yeah.
interpret it, Josh.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's just up for interpretation. You know, what did you send? What's that other video you sent? That other song?
Till You Can't by Cody Johnson.
I never heard that. What is
The
that?
one I sent today.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't get a chance to look at it because I was looking to the text. Like I was looking at a whole bunch of text saying, "What is that? Was that a country song?"
It's a country song, but it's one of those ones again, like Till You Can't. It's like you got to listen to it. It's a great
I will.
song because it talks about your father wanting to go with you, but you're going to give him a rain check until you can't. Love the one you're with. Get her a ring. Don't delay because you never know till you can't. It's a great song.
Yeah, dude. I definitely. Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, that definitely sounds like a good song.
It's again. I'm not good at describing it because I can't sing, and I would never even s-
You know what?
submit you to that.
Yeah. Like just thinking about these people, like these guys that create these songs, and like we just went through a whole bunch of things about being like sad or depressed or whatever, like with men and stuff. But you brought up like these singers and these comedians especially. It's like I don't know if it's a prerequisite, but you just look at sometimes like a lot of these people that have been entertainers, for instance, like they they come, a lot of these, especially comedians, a lot of these comedians come from a really really dark place,
Yeah.
and just replacing that dark place with, like, with music, or replacing that dark place with, like, with comedy. It's like, and if you look, at some of the greatest at their craft, like that specific thing, most of these guys had a lot of darkness in their life.
Oh yeah, yeah. But the other thing is, like, yeah, the comedians and that they have the darkness. But when you think also about like very good musicians or like very intelligent people, a lot of them have demons. You know what I'm saying? Look at who was the artist that cut his ear off?
To cut
You
his
know,
ear off.
the guy that used to paint back in the day. I forget his name
Oh,
now.
Picasso.
No, no, not Picasso. He didn't cut his ear off. Another one cut his ear off and sent it. Well, I think that's because he had syphilis and was going mentally insane. But a lot of them, it's going to bug me now who it was that I want to say Monet, but it wasn't Monet. Yeah, but like you're saying, like comedians, not all of them, but a lot of them have a dark side, and they use laughter to cover it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Because they're
mean,
either crying or they're laughing.
yeah. Like, you would look at a guy like Robin Williams. Like, that guy. I mean, I love that guy. I mean, comedian. He was in a lot of great movies. Like, he played good drama roles. Funny guy, but he killed himself. He had a family.
Yeah,
Like, at what point do you look at some of these people, and I don't know, man. Like, that's a touchy subject, because I have my own things with that, because sometimes, like, if you come from family, like, and it's like that whole thing, like, outside looking in scenario, but to take your own life with a lot of people that love you, but to think of, like, how sad you have to be to actually go through with something like
I was
that.
going to
This
say.
guy,
Yeah.
I just watched this documentary on this guy, Greg Giraldo. I used to know him as a comedian. The guy was hysterical. He was on
Yep.
O
Yep.
and A
I
a
know
couple
him.
times. Oh, guy, what do you call, 44 years old? The guy, what do you call it? Big drug addict, obviously, in and out of rehab, but took pills and overdosed.
Yep.
The kids were devastated. The wife was devastated. I mean, it's like, I don't understand. Like, that's a part of the disconnect that I don't understand. When you have that, goodness in your life, or is it just an act? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't think it's an act. I think it's just they have a mental thing that doesn't allow them to see that what they're going to do is they're just in such a bad spot in their head. I don't know if I don't want to call it disease or just, they just, that's the only way they see out of this pain. And thank God, Rich, we can't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Thank God we don't have that. But
Yeah.
did you ever watch that documentary on Robin Williams, Robin's Wish? Horrible,
Yes.
dude.
Horrible.
Horrible. Like the guy
Yep.
said that right before he killed himself, his neighbor said Robin was just standing for 45 minutes looking out the window, and everyone could see that he wasn't right, but no one thought he would do that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's unbelievable, because you think about, like, all the joy he brought to people's lives, but again, it's just, you don't know what that brain chemistry is made up of. You don't know what's
Yep.
going on. You don't know what that person's. You don't know if there's any PTSD going on there from something. Yeah, it's sad, man. It really is. A lot of these guys, Chris Farley, he overdosed. Like, he came from a good family. Belushi, a lot of these
Yep.
guys, man, and
Now,
you just
do you think like Belushi and Farley, like there are comedians that had like bad childhoods growing up? You know what I'm saying?
right.
Now, was the overdose due to the success that they had and the money they had that they were able to do that, and then they just got addicted and took too far, or were they the same way, had something, a darker demon? Because I know everyone that speaks about Farley, but he was always self-deprecating because of his weight. No matter that,
Mm,
that was always his joke. In a way, that's
mm,
a way to cover up his bad feeling of that he thinks he's fat. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Like, I watched a heartbreaking documentary on him too. It's like it's his three brothers, like, sitting at Morton Steakhouse, like eating steaks or whatever, and just talking about him and, like, about his life. And it just, listen, from the outside looking in, it seems like, they had a normal family. It wasn't, the brothers loved him. They didn't know why what happened. They don't know, like, they said that he was always afraid. He was always looking for approval from people. That's his thing was. He was always looking for approval. So, with
Right.
that going, looking for approval probably came with, doing a lot of drugs or overeating or over drinking, just to mask the fact that if he doesn't get the approval, he could say, "Oh, I was drunk," or "Oh, I was high," or
Right.
if he doesn't get the approval,
Had,
you
had
know,
the excuse. Yep.
and
I don't know.
it's and you get a guy like Belushi too. Belushi, his brother James, he's another one. And I said to you something before, as like Sam Kinison, he's another one. He died, but ironically, I said to you earlier, like he was sober a week and he got run over by a drunk driver. That's kind of a weird way to go.
Could you imagine? He was screaming on his way up to heaven. His scream,
No,
like
absolutely, he
I
was so.
could have been drunk or I could have been this, and I wasn't, and I got hit by a car.
Yeah, I know exactly. He was probably walking out of a bar, like trying to say, "You know what? I'm not taking a drink today. Or I'm not
Yeah.
doing any lines today. I'm out. I'm not doing this shit no more."
Oh Jesus. Could you
Oh,
imagine? But that's
yeah,
the other
dude.
thing. But with the addiction, I don't know. It's hard for me, like people that are addicted to drugs, to call it a disease
Right.
because I know people do. It changes your brain chemistry, but I think it's more of the mentals. I don't think it's the drugs that's a disease. I think there's something wrong in their mind that makes them want to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Now I listen. I come from a family, like full disclosures, alcoholism all of my family. Now, the like I asked my wife something last night too about I asked my wife, we were watching something on obesity last night too. Okay, now I'm gonna kind of equate obesity with maybe with alcoholism. Where I'm going with this.
All right.
I asked my wife. I said they're calling obesity a disease. Now, what's the disease part about obesity? Now, obviously there's other factors to obesity, right? Now, but what if somebody's healthy, right? That really has, they have no thyroid problems in their family. I'm just using somebody like that, and they're just obese because they overeat. Now, there's an addiction factor there and there's a disease factor there. Like they call the addiction
Right.
a disease. I think that you got to separate the two at some point by saying it's because of something that something happens. Like, is a cause and effect there. It's because I eat that I'm fat. It's because I drink that I'm an alcoholic. It's because I drink too much I'm an alcoholic. So
Right.
does it come to a point where if you don't have in your family, is it just like a gluttonous behavior? Or because literally there's alcoholism, like I have firsthand experience, and it's like there's a point where they people don't out with alcoholism, they don't care, they won't stop for nobody if they don't feel like they
Right.
have to.
But my thing is the alcohol created to me, and I don't want to. I'm gonna get people mad. I don't know how many people are gonna listen
No,
to
no, no,
this
Josh, I think everybody has their own interpretation of this stuff, dude. That's why I love this conversation, I really do.
because, like, cancer's a disease. You know what I'm saying? They didn't, except for smokers, they didn't do anything. Like little kids that have cancer, they have a disease. They didn't do anything in order to create that disease. Alcoholism, it becomes a mental problem in that, to where they've drank so much and now it's changed the chemical, and even drugs, the chemical balance in your brain, to where now you need that to survive. And a lot of times, even some alcoholics, it's so bad to where they're they cannot go without it. They can actually
Now,
die from not having it.
right now, I had an epiphany the other night. It's like, can you choose to have cancer? You know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say? Like can you
No.
wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'll have a little bit of that cancer today. You
Right.
could you
Right.
could choose not to be an alcoholic.
Right.
I
Up to
mean,
a
I don't know
point.
if that makes any sense.
Actually, in a way, I'm gonna go against myself, because in a way, you can't choose not to be an alcoholic. Like, we drink, but we're not alcoholics. But if we drank so much to where we can no longer choose to be or not to be. We became. But we put ourselves in that own position.
So now, then that does that imply the fact that maybe that it's in the brain then? So that's the alcohol changes your brain chemistry to something that you just do every day, and it's just used to it, and just because your body feels like shit, but your brain is like, you know what, we need this shit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a disconnect between the brain and the body.
Yes, but then would smoking cigarettes be considered a disease? Because people that smoke the nicotine, they wake up and they have to have it, but it's not considered a disease. But what is considered a disease is the cancer you get from smoking.
Right. Right. And you know what? You bring a good
The
point.
li-
So is smoking a disease? Smoking is an addiction, but
it's an
is it a
addiction,
disease?
correct?
Whereas,
Have you ever
right,
heard smoking a disease? No, it's an addiction.
right, exactly, exactly.
So
So
why?
it's kind of like, can you pick and choose like what's what? Is alcohol an addiction or disease, or is drug abuse, or obesity, or whatever these things that I guess it's kind of like what I'm trying to say is like what you call something is kind of like if it fits like a vernacular, fits a vernacular of what you're trying to say. Like if you want to say that all alcoholics have a disease, it's a disease and it needs to be treated like a disease. It needs to be have medicated. It needs this, that, and the other thing. But then you got something like cancer. Like you don't choose to get cancer, but
Right.
I just feel like if you, I guess your brain gets taken over so much that you can't choose not to drink. But the act of having cancer is the actual disease, or having obesity or whatever it is, heart
Or
disease. That's the actual disease.
cirrhosis of the liver is a disease from being an alcoholic.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That to me, that's the disease caused by the alcohol. I don't. And again, people are going to get upset. I have alcoholics in my family. You know what I'm saying? And I don't
Right.
consider them having disease. When they get cirrhosis or something like that, they have a disease. They have an addiction.
Right.
To
Now
me,
that's a good point too, because when you think about it, like a lot of people that are heavily addicted into drugs or alcohol, whatever their addiction may be, it's like they see themselves deteriorating, but something won't let them stop doing the thing, even if it's also deterioration of their families, deterioration of their
oh
own
yeah,
body, their own personal body. It's like you could not care about anybody else around you, but when you observe your own body being destroyed, and the selfish aspects, at some point the selfish aspect would take over in your brain, saying, wow, what am I doing to myself? You know what I
but
mean? Even
there,
if you're the most selfish person in the world, what am I doing to myself? But even that doesn't click in a lot of people. So that's why I don't understand, like the difference between a behavior or a disease.
right. Well, another thing. TikTok. Thank God I have a lot of time on my hands. But there was a TikTok, and they were talking about addiction and the test they used to do back in the day, where you'd probably seen it, they'd put a mouse in a cage, and they would have one
Mhm.
water bottle for the mouse that was water, and another one that was a drug. And I don't want to say majority of the time the mouse would die within the first day, because it would just continuously drink the drug one and just overdose. So then, and it said this guy, Bruce Alexander, created this called Rat Park, to
Mhm.
where he said they're doing this test wrong. They're putting someone by themselves, they're putting a mouse all alone by itself, so it has no other choice, A or B. He said, you can't test addiction that way, because everybody that's addicted has family, has friends, has outside stuff. So he created what they call the Rat Park. So there was a bunch of mice in there. They had a bunch of things to do. They had food, they had wheels, they had this, they had water, and they had the drug. Majority of those mice only drank the water. They
Hmm.
would try the drug at first and would just go back to the water. They didn't like it because they had other choices. But
Right.
in a way, if you think of it like that, then why are people still addicted if they have all these choices? You know what I'm saying? So it's like they do these tests, and it's like, all right, no, he did it wrong. But if this guy's doing it, it's showing that they're not doing it. So then why are people getting addicted?
Right.
When
So
they,
then
like you
then
were
it goes
just saying, with the family and all that, I think it's they get that high, they chase that high, and they can't get it again, and then unfortunately it changes the chemical balance in their brain, and their brain is telling them this is what you need, no matter what anyone says.
And you know what I think happens too to a lot of people who are super aware of alcoholism in their family, and know that, like, if they're super aware that they have that gene and stuff like that, is I think maybe sometimes also that you're focused so much on an addiction going in one direction. Like if you witness alcoholism your whole life, or if you witness drug abuse your whole life, that you're so super aware of not being an alcoholic that maybe you're addicted to something else and you don't know it. Or maybe it's like you're not addicted to alcohol, you're super aware, so you don't drink. It's like so you don't drink. So but that's not your addiction of choice because you're sitting there eating bags of potato chips and
Right.
pizzas and whatever your addiction may be. But that's the thing. Like that, therein lies the fact that maybe it is a disease of the brain, because
Yeah.
where you just because you're super aware of something that's going to be bad for you. Like, I observed this behavior. Alcohol caused it, and I'm not going to let anybody see that behavior. But you also, on the other hand, could be doing something else that's like, holy shit, I wasn't aware of that because I was super aware of something else. So addiction just can take over the brain, and just
Yeah.
go in any direction.
Yeah. Because I know a guy who was an alcoholic, got help, got out, but now I hate to say it, it's a good thing, but he's addicted to running. That's all he
Mm,
does. He runs
mm.
every day. And he even said to me, he's like, it is, but it's a better addiction than alcohol. And I said, you're 100% right. He goes, I have that type of personality. He goes, I just have it. He goes, I just got to focus on where I'm going to allow it to take me.
Right. Right now, I don't know. I just now I think I'm really looking too far into it. Like when you think about something like that, it's like is at that point, is it an addiction or is it an obsession? Like I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, are those words in this? Do you think those two words are one and the same, or is like, do you become obsessed
Yeah.
with running, or are you addicted to running? You're
No, I
addicted to the
think
feeling.
addiction has something to do with your body that you need to do
Yes.
whatever that addiction is. You're right. He's obsessed with running now, but he says that takes his mind away from the other addictions he had. So yeah, no, you are correct. Yeah, that would be less of an addiction because actually no, because running will does stuff to your brain also. It gets the different chemicals going, but it's
The
not. No,
endorphins
it's not
going.
an addiction.
Yeah, but like you said, though, it gets the endorphins going. But you said that's a positive obsession or a
Right.
positive addiction. Because again, because you're doing something positive, and that's what your brain's recognizing. So again, same concept. I guess your brain's recognizing a negative behavior, but your body is just not allowing it to. It's all like, again, mind over matter. Like if you have a strong
Yeah.
brain or if you have a strong body, it depends. Like you don't want your body to feel like that every day, but yet you keep doing that. But
Right.
whereas running is that he gets up and runs every day. I don't know about you. When I was running a lot, man, I'd come back from a run, I'd feel great, dude. I'd be ready for my day. I'd be breathing great. But if I went out and I drank, a case of, Budweiser the night before, I'd
Yeah.
wake up, I'd feel like shit. But I'd still repeat that same behavior for a negative or a
Yes.
positive, right?
Right. I do. When I was running, I slept better. You know what I'm saying? I felt better. I breathed better. Like you said, yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's just I don't know. Just be thankful that we don't have that problem because I couldn't even imagine. I've had friends that I've reached out to on Facebook when I noticed that they were in a bad way. They're getting better, but it's a process. And I hate to tell I would tell them you got to get out of that circle. Where I grew up, if you're doing it and your friends are doing it and you go get help and you get better, you come back and put yourself in that same circle, you're gonna do it again. You have to break the circle. You can't, the cycle is just gonna bring you back in all the time. If you don't surround yourself, and that's one thing I learned as I got older, if you don't surround yourself with people that are gonna make you better, they're not worth being around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. And that happens also too, Josh, as you get older. Because when you're young, you have your big, huge circle of friends. You don't want to be invited to all the parties, and you want to do
Right.
everything. But as you get older, not that the friends get weeded out, but other friends have different. They go in a different direction for a job,
Right.
or they go for a different direction for other stuff. But they're still your friends. But your circle gets smaller and smaller. And those are the people that you can trust, and there's those people you can just hang out with. But you're right, though. The circle of
But
friends gets smaller and smaller.
But it's also as you get older, like I move away, you moved away. You meet new friends, and there's people that I've met that I'm no longer friends with because I've learned life's too short. I have enough drama in my own life. I don't need someone bringing other drama into it. So it's like
Yeah,
if you're not there on the same page as me, there's no reason to go have your friends. I'll go have mine. Not going to talk
yeah.
bad about you. Don't feel bad about you, but you're just not worth being in my circle. I don't want to sound stuck up, but it's just the way it is.
No, it's not stuck up. That's your personal time, dude. Like, what are you gonna? You can surround yourself with people that are just negative people. It's like shit on you all the time, or shit on each other. Shitting on each other is fun. When it's fun. But like,
100%.
it's like shit
Yes.
on themselves all the time, and there's a difference between that. Listen, you, and Scott, and we get together and say some pretty heinous shit to each other, but
Oh
that's
yeah.
because we're friends. That's because we're friends. We can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but this is more like people where if you and I went out, say you and I, Scott, are friends, and when you and I go
Yeah.
out, Scott's like, "Well, why didn't you invite me? How come I didn't go?"
Right.
I I don't need that, dude. If you're that insecure, I don't need that. I
Exactly.
have, you know what I'm saying? You can go out with this guy, you can do that, whatever. We hang out, we hang out. If we don't, we don't. If you want to hang out with someone else, that's fine. I had people like that. And it's like, you know what? I'm done. I don't need, I don't need to explain why I'm hanging out with someone and not you.
I know. I'm fucking 50 years old, man. If I want to stay home on a Friday night, if I want to hang out with this one, I'm gonna hang out whoever I want to. It's not like I dislike you because I hung out with this person. I mean, come on, man. Let's grow up a little bit. You
Yeah.
know? I don't know, dude. Oh, wow, Josh, we did an hour and a half, dude.
Wow. Dude, it's
I
going
was
easy.
gonna
I
try.
like it. I had fun. I don't know if other people like it. I enjoyed it. Got to talk to you, and we just talked. And that's what
Absolutely.
I just like to talk. You know what I'm saying? I was nervous at first, and it's like I know you and Eric do some research in that. I didn't do research. I kind of just wrote stuff down that I was thinking about because you know how it is. If you start talking, we could have rambled on about our kids for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But it's just some things down. But it's yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
To
but
me,
it's
it's
good.
cathartic,
You
dude. I've
got
been
you.
home.
Good.
I said I've been home so much, and with Shannon working and that, I just need to talk sometimes. I
Yeah.
talk to my dog, dude. I just need someone else
Yeah.
to talk back to me. Shannon does.
Josh.
Don't get me all. Everyone listening, my wife talks to me. I just need to talk to someone other than my wife.
But you know what though, Josh? That's the thing, man. Because I know, listen, we do the silly thing. Me and Eric do like the Murphy Dub sports show and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. But this is, I like that you like to do this, dude, because listen, I talk to you about a lot of stuff. Like a lot of people are afraid to talk about certain things. You know what I mean? Even if they're friends. But
Yeah.
I feel like when we talk, like we have a good flow of a conversation. It's like, even if disagreements or agreeing, it's like you just like you said, you just want to talk. I want to do this again. Like I was looking for somebody like the two of us could just sit down and bullshit because I could like you, I could talk for days, man. Like you know what I mean. I don't even and it's interesting conversation, dude. And that's the thing. It's not like me and you would just spitball and saying, I don't know, buddy. What do we talk about next? No, it's like
Right.
we could sit there
Or
and
we were just
bullshit.
like, all right, subject one, subject two, subject
Yeah,
three. It was just talking. And again, I don't know what other people are going to think. I enjoyed the conversation,
yeah.
but what we have to do is get down to the club and do it in front of the fireplace.
Yes, that's that. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna have more free time. How far is the club away from here? Like, where we got to go? Like,
15 minutes.
we gotta go to Canada.
It's 15 minutes. It's right down Route 9.
Okay,
You go
like I
down
said.
past Home Depot on 9, and it's probably about 10 minutes down that road.
All right, because we definitely have to do that. A lot of my time is going to start freeing up now, Josh. And listen, dude, like you say, you talk to your dog, you just call me up and we'll just do this, dude. Like I said, this is therapeutic. This is therapeutic for me, man.
Yeah.
Because again, my brain is for 50 years of my life, I'm riddled with ADD. I'm just like, my brain gets crazy sometimes. But this right here is therapeutic for me because sometimes I feel like I talk to myself out loud and I just say things and Shannon just say, "Shut up! What are you saying? You talk too much." Or but just to have somebody like you, like I know you enjoy talking. Like it's
Hey,
like it's
Rich,
good for us. Therapeutic,
is
dude.
is that the thing that you were saying that someone pointed out to you that you need to change? You talk to yourself? Did you just
No,
let the cat
actually,
out of the bag, buddy?
listen. Any of you guys that know me know that I talk too much.
But hey, speaking of that, I was going to say it when you were talking about it. I don't know if I ever brought it up before when I was on your other podcast, but get the book Jocko Willink's Extreme Ownership.
Okay.
One of, I would say it is the best self-help book that I've ever read. I've read it twice. Rich,
Okay.
Jocko Willink was a Navy SEAL, great Navy
I know
SEAL,
who he is.
instructor
He's
and all that.
amazing, dude. Yeah, he's
He
amazing, dude. Amazing.
he has he breaks this book down, I think 9 or 10 chapters, and each one has three different things in it. It talks about the same thing, but one was he describes it when he was in the SEALs. Then he
Okay.
describes it in real life, and then how he did it to he went and instructed these big businesses and how he changed how they thought and like their uh, managers and CEOs. Dude, I'm telling you, it's really about pointing the finger in the mirror instead of going,
Mhm.
"What did you do?" But what did you do to do this? And it really
Right.
makes you stop and just think about what you do and how you can do stuff to change your own life and other people. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
would highly recommend that book.
I listen to his. He's got a podcast. I listen to his podcast a lot. He's listen. He's all about positive shit and telling us what's going on in the government. That guy. He's got a podcast, Josh. You should check it out, man. He's really
No, no,
good.
I've listened. Yeah, I've listened to it. It's great. But I'm telling you, Rich, that book, great
All right.
book.
Extreme ownership. You know what's funny too? You bring up another guy too. Is like and these guys are on Rogan all the time. But I turned Jack onto a David Goggins.
Oh yeah,
Do you know, that guy is a complete lunatic, dude. I love his whole philosophy of just waking up in the morning and just calling himself a piece of shit. I love that mentality, dude. It's
he used
amazing,
that self-deprecation to make himself better, but the guy is insane. Like,
dude. I don't think there's anybody on the planet like that guy. I mean, honestly, I really don't.
no, there's not, and thank God.
And listen, we only know the person that we see, like running through the streets, like with dude. He said, like I said, he was on Rogan not too long ago, and every time like he'll meet somebody, like he meets somebody, he's like, yeah, what's up, man? He's like, how you doing? It's like he'll be like, it's like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? So getting better, motherfucker. What are you doing? Like, this guy's lunatic,
No, no,
dude.
that's what
I
I'm saying.
love it.
Like, I don't.
Yeah, how you doing?
Does he talk like that all the time with the swearing and just?
Now, I listen. Like I said, we all listen to Rogan a lot, and but listen, he swears that that's who he is, dude. Rogan swears that that's who he is in real life.
So it's not just the persona he's putting out. That is, he is that true person, which actually makes it better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
To realize that he's not just doing that when he's on camera.
yeah. He told a story one time. He told a story about one time about the people that he hangs out with, like his real friends. Like his real friends, like they just call each other pieces of shit and try and push each other all the time. Like he does that run every year. There's like a 110-mile run, like through a couple of states. And his buddy heard that he was training for it because he got second place. And his buddy is some crazy, like, ex Navy SEAL too. And he called him up and heard he was training and asked him how long he was training. Took him on a run. Dude, he said that they ran for 127 miles because neither one of them would give up first.
Yeah, I'd
That's
have been done after the
insane.
third mile.
That's insane. Just to push each other that hard. Oh, my God. Hey, I guess that's what friends are for. But that, yeah, I turned Jack onto him, dude. Jack thinks he's great. Like, Jack loves. He turns on his videos in the morning. He laughs at him. But him and Jocko, like those, they're pretty hardcore dudes.
You there?
All right, Josh. All right, my friend. Like I said, I got a whole bunch of not movie, music stuff we could talk about, but I don't think we got about 2 hours. We can probably do 2 hours on music one night if you want.
I was gonna say, what I want to do is I'm gonna give you some music to listen to next time. You do
Yep.
the movies, because you know me and movies. Like you said the other day, you watched American Gigolo. Never seen it,
Yeah.
dude.
That's a great movie. Oh, see, I thought that's where you got the. I swear to God, I thought that's where you got the the reference from.
Reference? What do you? What?
What's the what do you call it? The liquor you were drinking the other night?
Basil Hayden.
Basil Hayden. What's his name? Was standing out in front of the one of the guys was standing out in front, asking the guy to get him a bottle of Basil Hayden from the liquor store. He was underage, and he's set in the '60s American Graffiti. Ron Howard was in his Three
Right.
Happy Days and everything.
Yeah, Richard Gere's in it.
But the one kid, yeah, and the one kid, he's trying to bang this one chick, I guess, and he told her he could get her a bottle of Basil Hayden. And every time somebody would come in, and he'd tell to go in to get the bottle, the guy would go out the back door, and they'd always steal the money from him. It's so
Dude,
funny.
I had no clue what you were talking about. No clue. And I didn't want to ask because I'm like, all right, maybe he was, I don't know. But all right, now I
That's so
understood. Like, I was going to be like, dude, what are you talking about? I even was
yeah.
going to Google American Gigolo and Basil Hayden, but I'm like, there's no
That's
way
you
it's
would have
in the
came up,
movie.
dude, and you would have
Funny, I should
recognized
have
the
looked.
actor too, man. Yeah, but you know what? Then you know what? We'll definitely have to do a show real soon. To get together and just talk about music, dude, because I got a whole bunch of music notes that I'd like to get to too, dude. And anytime you want, Josh, you can call me up on a random tomorrow night if you want to. I'll be willing to talk. So
All right,
anytime you
dude.
want to talk, man. All right.
I'm definitely down with that because you know me and music. I love all music. I've been listening to country, but I can listen to it all. So
Yeah.
That'd be a good
Hey,
one.
you know what we're going to be doing too? I don't know if you're going to be around. You know Jay over there at the Fishkill Rec.
Maeda.
Yeah, Jay Mayetta. We are gonna on March 18th. Me and Eric, he's gonna set us up with all professional equipment, videographers, and everything. We're gonna call all the championship games that day. I'm going to announce all the kids. I'm going to give them their awards. We're going to do a podcast. We're going to interview Jay. The videographer is going to have 3 camera angles on us. We're going to have professional equipment. He said we could do our podcast over there. We're going to be there for like 10 hours, dude.
Dude, all right, I'll be over. Yeah, I heard you guys
Yeah.
say about it. You were finalizing it today?
Yeah, we talked to Jay today, and I'm having a meeting with the videographer next week, and he wants to talk to me about what kind of stuff we're going to do, and yeah, it's pretty cool, dude. It's actually he said we could put our logo up, we can hand out cards, shirts, whatever you want to do. Jay really likes our show, man. So he thinks we make him laugh. He's like, yo, I'll tell he's been telling everybody about the show. He's like, we could do live shows down there, so it'd be actually be kind of cool. We're going to do the
All
color
right,
commentary for the games.
there you go.
That's gonna be fun, dude. All right, my friend.
All right, dude. It was
All
nice
right,
talking to
Josh.
you.
Yeah,
Finally,
it's great.
after like 3 weeks.
Absolutely. And yeah, man, you're right. We putting this out as a podcast, right?
I'm fine with it. Yeah.
I'm not even going to edit nothing, dude. I'm just going to hit publish, and everybody will have it for their listening enjoyment. And I'm sure we said a couple of things in there that pissed off a couple of people. But if that's the case, listen, we both have Facebook accounts, we both have Twitter accounts, and we both love a debate. So if we said anything
Yeah.
tonight that concerned you guys, you're talking to 2 guys that do not shy away from a debate. So tweet
No,
us or call us if you want, because I'm sure some of you have our numbers. So, right,
yeah.
Josh? Am I out of line by saying that?
Nope, not at all. Just don't get butthurt and get mad at me. Ask me why I thought that, and I'll tell you why. And then you can tell me
Exactly,
why.
because that's what it's
Uh,
all about, brother. Open up dialogue among everybody. All
Can you
right,
do me
Josh,
one
my
favor?
friend,
Hold
I will.
on. Rich, can you
Yeah,
do me one favor when you're editing this? Can you make my
yeah,
voice sound like Wolfman Jack, your cousin Joe?
that would be fantastic, dude. I wish there was an app where I could do that.
I'm gonna find one so the next time I call in, I sound like him.
That would be great. All right, Josh, I'll give you
All
a,
right,
I'll give you a buzz tomorrow. All right.
all right, dude. Talk to you later.
Hey, thanks for this tonight. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
All right. Good night, everybody, and thanks for listening to Shooting the Breeze with Murph and the Outlaw. All right, guys. Thanks a lot, everyone. I see a couple people entered into the live studio there. A couple of names I didn't really, a couple of names I don't really know, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Just like Shooting the Breeze with my boy Josh. All right. Till next time. Later.